welcome to Let's Talk About You. I am your host, Camilla Francis. It's always an honor and a privilege to have you joining me. Hey, we're smack in the middle of August. What's that going on here? I mean, the month is almost over. This is the second to last Sunday. I can't believe it. I am your host, Camilla Francis, and today is a day of reflection. We had such a powerful talk yesterday, well, I should say last Sunday, with Julian West of Titan Insurance. And it was just such a day to talk about insurance. We were just passing through the effects of Erin and the wind and the rain and the connectivity issues and the power outage, but I will say I have no complaints about the power outage or the connectivity issues because it could have been so much worse. So I am grateful. Thank you guys for hanging in there. We know that there was a little issue right to the cusp of the end, but I know you guys got the gist of the show. And without further ado, let me bring on my gems. That's the ace one and ace one of Let's Talk About You, Kiana and Crystal. Ladies, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Yeah, hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Sorry. I know, Kiana, we won't stress because I understand that you have a cold. So I hope you have your water so you can stay lubricated as we talk about last Sunday and the powerful topic of insurance, the benefits, the importance of the types of what we should do. It's never too late. Well, for the most part, other than the age restraints. I will say that there are age restraints, but it's never too early for you to be on a life insurance policy as soon as you're born. So, ladies, let's get into it. Welcome. Thank you so much for who you are, for sharing to be off screen and on screen. Let's jump into it. Last Sunday. It was a Sunday.
Indeed, but and such a timely message. I mean, we couldn't plan it any more perfect than to have what was happening, in the weather and this reminder of insurance and the importance thereof. If there was ever a time to remember that you need to have insurance, it might have been a couple of days before Sunday. However, it was still a great reminder because we're in that season. We're in the season of these natural disasters, and it's continuing to increase year by year. And so it's even more important now to understand what we need. And generally, we need insurance. But last week's timing was epic to talk about insurance on the day that
Couldn't plan it any better, even if I tried.
Couldn't at all. We couldn't even anticipate it.
Yeah. I will say there was a pause of should we do it? Should we not do it? Should we not do it? And I want to say thank you to both of you for just spearheading everything. And, Kiana being the voice of reason. Yes, just let's find a spot that we can. And I want to shout out WCV for saying, yes, let's do it. She was my plan C. Because, plan A was doing it in this location. And then there was a plan B to do it at another location. And there was no electricity. And then the electricity came on, but there was no internet. And then plan C was to go with WCV. And I just wanted to say thank you to her for allowing us to have our Let's Talk About You talk in her office. It was ideal. It couldn't be more perfect. So I want to say a thank you to her. So, one thing that I want to, to piggyback on what you said, Crystal, and to talk about what Julian said about the importance of starting early to have a life insurance policy. Because I will admit, I have heard talks, but it was never like a serious conversation. Because I will say that thank God for growth. Thank God for being able to evolve. Thank God for your seasonal village. Because I have grown so much and my village has evolved and it's into the season now that the importance of things that I didn't think about then. And I won't say it was so much so about age, because Kiana's having these conversations now when I didn't start having them until my late 30s, 40s, and now in my 50s. She's starting having these conversations and paying attention in her 20s. And how can things work for you? How can your insurance work better for you? You know, as I've been an employee for a very long time, and at no point in all of my years working for someone have I ever had someone say, or HR or the office manager or whomever was in charge with dealing with insurance, it was just fill out these forms. This is what it is that you're going to get, and these are the options. I will say over the years, the only thing I've been able to assist with selecting insurance, because we've come to a small office, is which plan do you think we stay on, this or the next one? But not so much so the questions of how can it truly work to benefit me.
Yeah.
And Julian brought out some really heavy hitters of, you know, how you can save money, how you can build money just with the insurance that you are provided at work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think in my just introduction of insurance, of course, started with, working, and then automatically you pay for insurance out of your salary. And then that goes to having medical insurance. But anything outside of that, I think the only knowledge I had in my 20s was around, well, if you get insurance, you can potentially put a house against your insurance. And I think that was like the closest thing to like a wealth mechanism in some ways, so like you can use your insurance policy as collateral for your house. And how that works out, I still don't necessarily know, because I never even explored it. But I think those are the two things I knew about insurance. Get insurance for your medical, for your car, and then potentially somehow there's something available for if you want to get a house, you need to have insurance.
Exactly. And then as renting here in the Virgin Islands, I mean, probably landlords do it now, telling the tenants to get tenant insurance for their contents. But I found out about that when I took Kiana to college. And in her sophomore year, junior year in college, she had to have her own apartment. And that's when they spoke about insurance for the content. I was like, insurance for content? It didn't even click then. It really didn't even click then. And she's like, yes, so we have to do it. And I have to do this in order to get this apartment. And of course, I didn't want my child to be homeless.
Absolutely.
So that was like when the lighters went on, the blinkers went on. It's like, oh, well, maybe it's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, the landlord will deal with the structural issues, but the content.
Yeah, it's on you.
Yeah, but even like with stuff like that, it's important to to do your homework on what renters, because renters insurance shouldn't be that expensive. Because currently there's a lot of places that offer car insurance that also offer a rental insurance bundle, and that's usually when you get the best deals. Like not to be putting my business out there, but my renter's insurance I think is about $16 or $17 a month.
Oh, nice.
And that's in tandem with my. It's not, that doesn't include my car insurance, but because I have a bundle of that and my car insurance, that's how I get a lower rate. So sometimes you have to see how your insurance bundles with other things and if that can get you a better deal. And it's like you're also seeing a lot more ads for renters insurance now. So I do think it's becoming more of a requirement. So it's becoming more popular for people to learn about it. But I definitely did not know about that before I had to move into my own apartment. It makes sense, but I was just like, why do I need renters insurance? Like, this is in my house. It's so weird.
But exactly, and that was my mindset as well. It's like, this isn't our house, but the contents are ours.
It's yours, yeah. And it would make sense that you get coverage for it. I think to be honest, I think only in researching for the show that I remember that renters insurance exists. So to be fully honest, like not the first time I heard of it, because I think heard of it somewhere, somehow coming up at some point, but never considered it, never got any renters insurance. And I've rented all my life. I don't own a home yet. So obviously the content that I've been moving around throughout my life with has never been insured. And I grew up majority of my life living in the Caribbean. So, you were in the space where it is important to have these types of insurances because natural disasters are common for us. So I think that's why I feel like the whole conversation around insurance was such an important one, because we don't consider the things that we need to be considering to secure our own assets and, of course, in turn to build wealth, which is what you were mentioning just now, Camilla. Like, there's so much unknown to us. And because, as Kiana said, we're not doing the research, we aren't accessing certain things that might benefit us. We only talk about the negatives. So like, oh yeah, why waste my money on insurance? And you hear people say these things and you kind of adapt it in some ways because you're also not opening yourself up to understanding what it is. Mm-hmm. And then in turn, we're left out because we don't have these coverages that are available. And for $16, I mean, we shouldn't we?
Yeah.
And then some of the ins and outs about it, because, he mentioned about life insurance and the importance of having life insurance. And we know life insurance is not for the deceased, it's for the living.
Right.
But it makes sense because there are too many GoFundMes, and I pray to God that that is not my portion. Kiana, just put me in a box and just put it. Don't stress. I know it may sound a little crass, but my point is there's so many things that the living is left behind, and people make home going so beautiful as it should be. And I'm not taking away, because as an event planner myself, I assist with doing repasts, and I know that I've done beautiful jobs in helping the family celebrate. So I'm not taking away from that. But what I'm saying is, for me, my personal thought is I don't want all that pomp and circumstance to be costly, because you may have something else that you need to do. So, less is more. And yes, I'm an elaborate person now. And I will remain an elaborate person in your hearts. So keep me there. You don't have to do the pomp and circumstance. Yeah. Just one memorial service. I would, memorial service. And it doesn't have to be, my point is, after you go on, a nest egg needs to be set. You need to set that nest egg for your family members so they can deal with your arrangements and have that hard, uncomfortable conversations. Like, I'm trying to put it all out there now. And Kiana's like, why is she saying this now? Why is she doing that?
Doing this on camera? That's my question. That's crazy.
Exactly. But it's not even so much so I'm doing it to just make it seem like, make it a normal conversation, because I know growing up, I did not want to hear about death. I didn't want to talk about death. I was afraid of death, but that was because death seemed scary and not that's the only natural. And that's probably why I just kept rambling there about that.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't want it to be nice, but my point is, it's important to have life insurance, and life insurance not just for the seasoned adult, life insurance for the youth, for your baby, for your infant. And there's so many policies like Julian was explaining. I don't even remember all the names now, but that will grow with that child.
Yeah.
And maybe you could turn it, after one policy lapse, you can see, it may be able to grow with them, and they may be able to take something out, or, so many things that you can do with your policies. Let your insurance work for you. Ask the insurance carriers the important questions, or questions that you don't know. Just say, lay it on me. What is my coverage? What is this coverage doing for me? How is it best for, just ask the question. And even if you don't know what questions to ask, just tell them, educate you on the coverage that is offered to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And even what Kiana said earlier about bundling, because you might have a particular insurance already and you might benefit from asking, what can I combine with this, and there might be offers that can be attached to your existing insurance policies. Most people have car insurance if they're a car owner. So even if you don't own a home, you might have a car that you can, bundle with something else and benefit from that bundle by reducing the cost, and then of course getting the coverage of that additional piece that you add on. But I liked what you said about the youth, and even in like educating our youth that when they get that first job, take out a life insurance for yourself even. So if someone had said to me at 18, hey, you're getting a job, you're going to make extra money, go ahead and open a policy, keep that running. It will be so much cheaper when you start at that age with your first job than it would be when you hit 30 and you're starting to think about home ownership and everything else. By that time, between 18 to 30, you could have well had a good, as you said, nest egg already in place, and your likelihood of getting additional access to things that you might want at that stage will be so much easier because they will see that you have a track record of taking care of some of the important things. And I feel like in our communities, we don't have these types of conversations with with our kids and with our family and friends. And we need to, of course, make that more part of the narrative. So not life insurance so that when you die, you don't leave a bill, but life insurance so that while you're alive, we can, do some things with what you have accumulated or invested in. And if we talk about it more like an investment, then we can have a better mental,
understanding. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Think of insurance as an investment. Ask the questions and just tell them, lay it on me, educate me so I can know how this can be an investment and not just me spending money. Because, you hear the thing, for years I've been have all this insurance and nothing never happened to me. So I wasted all that money. Have the conversation, and if your insurance person doesn't know all the ins and outs, ask them to ask whomever that can add to the conversation to educate you, because this is the time that we have so many resources to help educate us about things and break it down so we can fully understand how things work for us.
Right. And I don't know how it works with a lot of the jobs on the island, but I know that for the jobs that I've had, well, not all of them, but most of them that I've had after graduating college, they offer, not only do they offer these plans, but they also offer like free financial advisors, even if it's not like for the whole time of your contract. There's like 3 free sessions or something. Get the first 3 sessions for free. And you can talk to your financial advisor if you have questions about your health insurance needs, if you have questions about life insurance, because then you can get life insurance through your job. That's all. I have life insurance. I right now don't have a separate life insurance policy. I just have the one through my job. But they have people there who can talk to you virtually for a lot of these jobs about what your needs are, what your wants are, and how you can make your money work for you, which I think is incredibly smart, and it's beneficial, especially when you are new and young and you don't really understand how anything works. So it is very, very helpful that way. I know that not all jobs think that way or have those resources, but I think that that's something that more jobs need to invest in, especially in the Virgin Islands. I kind of am saying that because I grew up there, but I also feel like, part of what, Julian was saying about why he started his company, it really rings true, I think, for a lot of people, because I'm sorry, my nose ring is like falling out. Because there really, for a lot of jobs, are not a lot of options for people who want to be insured, whether it's health insurance or life insurance, dental, which it always baffles me that dental and eye health insurance are not part of health insurance because, like, that's my health. Whatever. That's a whole
Yeah,
other conversation.
that's how I did. I'm there with you. I was like, what a different plan, a different what?
Yeah,
Like, it's just
as
me.
if seeing and hearing is cosmetic.
Thank you.
And your mouth.
But
Yeah.
it is like there definitely needs to be. There definitely has been an issue where people don't have as many options as I feel like they should, or if some of the coverage options that you need are just like way out of your price range. And I know that things work differently in different places, but I feel like we have one person who came on the show, Julian, who is trying to make that easier and more accessible for people. And I feel like more jobs need to make insurance a priority for their employees, because you can't have any employee, you can't get any work done if everyone's out, if everyone's out sick, if everyone's dealing with something, if people can't afford to work here, like they're losing money working here because of the needs that they have, then you're going to lose employees that way. So I just think that that is something that a lot of employers need to spend extra time just really trying to find a plan that works best for their employees. Because if you work for your employees work for you, so I definitely think that that needs to be something that y'all prioritize and stop. I'm not going to say what I was about to say because I don't want to say why y'all are doing that. But I'm just saying,
Well, I'm glad that you start while you're ahead. But your points are absolutely valid, 1,000% valid. And, he's also said that he's willing to educate. So, maybe this may be an opportunity not only, of course, to sell his product, but to go into the businesses and have that conversation with HR or the business or the office manager or however that institution, that business, that entity is set up. So they can explain to their employees about what's offered and how this plan, whatever that plan is, can work for them. Because things would have been even different if I knew what my plan was years ago. I don't know. And then the one thing is plans do change, but you tend to learn how they change.
I think the same thing can be applied to health insurance or life insurance, whereas make sure you know exactly what you're signing up for. Because in my head, I had rental coverage and that wasn't an issue, but that was not the case. Don't know where the disconnect was, but it was there. So I think it's important, even right now, even if you think you understand what you have, what your health insurance plan entails, just take a second look at it. Make sure you know exactly what it is that it is covering. And if you notice something that you thought was there and isn't, or something that is there that you don't remember signing up for, feel free to talk to your HR person, whoever's in charge of that, to just clarify that and then get a plan that works for you, not only works for your needs, but works for your budget as well. So
absolutely.
Are you considering owning a firearms and don't know what steps to take? Call VI Guns and Ammo LLC. They are the perfect place to offer you basic firearm classes. They have the application fee. They'll do full background checks for you and assist you with all the ins and outs and the logistics of owning a firearm in the Virgin Islands. Go on, give them a call, 305-333-8802, VI Guns and Ammo LLC. That's the place to assist you with all your firearm training needs. Call them today. Infinitely me. Handcrafted. Intentional. Timeless.
That I have this insurance policy that's going to end within 3 to 5 years. I think is when I'm. Anyway, so when I was speaking to my agent before the show, and I was asking her how can I extend that policy so it could be, because initially it was supposed to be just a nest egg just in case up until this point. and she informed me that policy doesn't exist anymore. And I need to look at another avenue to try to put a nest egg aside and so forth. So sometimes when you start a policy, because of how things change, that policy may not necessarily be in effect anymore. So you do need to ask your agent or your provider, okay, so what can work for me? So then they can give you options as to what's there, how it can work, what you may consider changing, what you may consider adding, and the like. Because things change. But one thing that is constant is that you need the service. You need that plan for yourself. That is the one constant.
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring that up about ask the question. And one thing that Kiana talked about, she has a life insurance with your job. Not every job offers a life insurance. They may just offer the health. So it's okay for you to have a plan outside the plan. That's one of the things Julian was talking about. Go ahead, Crystal. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I like what you said with like persons asking questions and finding out and discovering. And I think one of the things I feel we underestimate is how open these departments are to having the conversation with you. So it's not like you're bothering anyone if you are going in to ask questions. So and that applies across the board. I know we're talking about insurance right now, but we talked about it in the past with the white coat syndrome, where persons don't want to talk to their doctors. You see it with banking, where persons don't necessarily ask enough questions to a banking agent to understand how the banking can benefit them. And then that translates also to insurance. We have this tendency that we don't ask, or we are not seeking enough information about, what policies are in place, how can I benefit, what are some things that are available to me, and we need to. These professionals are happy to, in fact, share information and give us the insights. You might have to find the right one. So I'm not denying that there are, things that are factoring into that, but if you find the right individual, they will sit with you and explain and give you the right insights on this is how we can make it work for you. But we need to ask, and we need to share that information, but also look for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some months ago, we had that phenomenal lady that has the financial company in Maryland. Kiana, you may remember her name. It totally escaped me at this point. And she was talking about the benefits of setting up your estate. And having insurance is a part of setting up your estate. It is a part of estate planning. It is a part of planning for yourself and your family. It's all a part of it. And I'm so glad that, even though we haven't done it necessarily in a sequential flow, we did it at the right time, in the right moment. But learning about the insurance and how it works for you, we can't say it enough. It's pivotal.
Yeah.
And the one thing we spoke about, I don't know if it was Kiana and Crystal, the three of us, when last week was happening, it would have been nice to have someone, a professional, to talk about being calm and your feelings during that time, because trauma was, I know the trauma was heightened last week because of what was happening and what was going on. So yes, talk about the need of having the insurance, but also to have someone just to come offer some words of comfort in addition to what Julian and I offered.
Yeah, you and Julian touched on it during the show, and as I heard you guys, kind of talk about it, it reminded me that trauma can show up on both sides. So there's the trauma of the experience itself, that, okay, this is happening. There's a incident, whether it's a hurricane or an accident with your car, or, whatever the dynamic is. But then there's the trauma of, I don't have my affairs in order. And so I'm even more anxious now, because if something does happen, I will be in a bad position. So there's that added layer of stress and anxiety around not being prepared when something happens. I feel like insurance gives us that sense, at least, of, okay, if something happens, at least I don't have financial worries around it. I can
And that sense
address
of
it. I can.
security. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a sense of security around having a backup plan. Like, like you're saying, we had 3 backup plans in layers of the show, just in case something happens. Insurance is like that. It's like having a backup plan that if something does happen, then I have this in place to be able to address it and get our life back in order really, maybe not really quickly, but at
As
least you
soon as
have something to
possible.
keep as soon as possible. If you don't have it and something happens, which is something that Julian touched on, is that's when there's like this chaos and added stress, because I don't have the resources. You see it in death. We see it when you have a car accident. We see it in natural disasters. When something hits, it's when you're like, oh, I wish I had insurance.
Yeah, the helter skelter of it all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know that Julian isn't like really doing car insurance and stuff like that, but just like going off of what you were saying, I had a car accident about 2 years ago, and my car got totaled on my way home from work. And I thought that my car insurance had covered rentals, because I had a car insurance that covered, it covered a hospital stay, it covered this and that. And it did not cover rentals. So I had to pay for that out of pocket on my credit card, which already added to the stress that I had just paid off this car. Now I need a new car. Now I can't even like put all this money towards the new car because now I'm paying money for rentals every week.
Yeah.
And, I got how much ever money for the car back, but it wasn't nearly enough to cover both the rentals and a new car. So that was something that was like an added layer of stress for me at that time, thinking that you have something that you don't, which is when I got my new car and I made sure that my insurance did cover rentals for the future. But I think the same thing can be applied to health insurance or life insurance, whereas make sure you know exactly what you're signing up for. Because in my head, I had rental coverage and that wasn't an issue, but that was not the case. Don't know where the disconnect was, but it was there. So I think it's important, even right now, even if you think you understand what you have, what your health insurance plan entails, just take a second look at it. Make sure you know exactly what it is that it is covering. And if you notice something that you thought was there and isn't, or something that is there that you don't remember signing up for, feel free to talk to your HR person, whoever's in charge of that, to just clarify that and then get a plan that works for you, not only works for your needs, but works for your budget as well. So
Absolutely. Ask that question, have the conversation. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, and then it's a loss to your wealth too, because there's like the consequence of it, like the consequence of not having it, or not having something that covers everything that you think it's going to cover. That bill has wiped out people, especially medical bills, have wiped out people's wealth in one fell swoop. Like you go from having and being comfortable and being provided for, your family is fine, and then one medical issue kind of cleans you out instantly. And I'm always shocked in some ways, the medical coverage, if you want to call it that, in the US. I'm always like, what is that? Because in the and not to, we want. Yeah.
Well, I still want to talk about it as I get to the tip.
Yeah, because in Europe, and of course it's not all parts of Europe, but especially in the Dutch and French countries, insurance is like, medical insurance at least is like for everyone, because it's such a social system. Everyone has to have insurance, so from birth right up, and then the care, like you don't find that people don't have insurance and then get a medical issue and then they're not covered and then they're belabored with this bill. I mean, the price you pay for your insurance covers everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't cover, like we said before, like, eye specialists or dentists.
Yeah.
I think that's common across every country, at least the ones I know of. But when it comes to just, your standard medical care, if you have to have surgery or whatever it is going on with your life, that's covered. The exuberant cost of medical care in the US plus the lack of insurance has always baffled me.
It baffles me as well. Now, it's to the point that with 92 in office, it has just made things, and that's what I'm going to say with that. And I'm just really concerned of how things are going to be, how people are going to be impacted with Medicaid. And, those, because Medicaid, the services were already so limited and taxing because they don't always pay on time. And it's hard for the institutions, the facilities, the doctor's office to maintain. They can't say, I'm a practice that deals with everyone only on Medicaid, because they don't always get their money now for now, so they need a livelihood.
Yeah, one thing that I will say that a lot of people are concerned about, without getting into like the politics of it all, but getting into the actual medical stuff of it all, is that a lot of people are concerned about the work requirement for a lot of people. Yes, there are some exceptions, but the work requirement to be on Medicaid, a lot of people who are on Medicaid cannot work, whether because they are too old, or whether it is because they have a condition where it does not allow them to have a regular job. I say that in quotes. So I know that is definitely something that is concerning to a lot of people, is that the people on Medicaid are already some of the most vulnerable people when it comes to health in this country, which is why they qualify for Medicaid. The qualifications are already, I think, tough. So I think that is a concern for a lot of people, that you're making tough qualifications even tougher. And a lot of people without this care that at least they got through Medicaid, the concern is, from lots of professional health experts, is that people will die because of this. Because like you were saying, a lot of people are one medical emergency away from losing everything. Or not even medical emergency, one tragedy, whether it's a car accident, whether it is a medical emergency, whether it's a death in the family. People are one emergency away from homelessness in this country. And that, I think, is very, very scary, especially when, you're just trying to get coverage to protect yourself and your family. Like if you're a parent, you don't just have yourself on your health insurance, you have your kids as well. So I think that is definitely a big talker now. And just medical stuff being expensive, I don't even know what to say about that. It's a little bit crazy, what they charge you for just do, like an ambulance being $5,000 is insane. But it is what it is, unfortunately. So that's why it definitely is. If you can afford to get the plan with the most coverage, and that's fine. But then sometimes you can't afford to have that much money taken out of your paycheck every month. So you go with the bare minimum plan. So it's
the deductibles. That's another issue.
And then there's don't even talk to me about a deductible. I was just venting to you about this the other day. Don't even talk to me about a deductible. It just is. It's truly. Oh, okay. I had to recenter myself. It is truly the reason that you should talk to a professional to see how you guys can find some middle ground between what you can afford and what you need. Because sometimes what you can afford is not going to be what you need, but a professional can get you as close to that as possible. which is why I think it's important for a lot of employers to be offering these services like partnerships with financial and insurance professionals to help explain so people don't have to outsource that. But if you do have to outsource it, I do think that it is a worthy investment because you're going to get sick. People get sick. You're going to get sick. There's going to be an emergency that pops up. You're going to have, I'm not trying to claim that over your life, but we're living in a world. So like things are going to happen. So I think that
we're living, period. If you live long enough something, you're just living.
So I think that it's definitely a worthy investment. I don't know how much you can invest, but invest what you can to actually have a sit down conversation with a person to make sure that the way that you're understanding this is the way that is what it actually is saying and the coverage that you're actually going to get, just so that there's no miscommunication. When the emergency does eventually arise, you know that you know what is covered and what is not. And that's another strain, another stress taken off of you.
Yeah, because that sometimes the jargon, even as I'm sure well-intentioned as Julian was, some of the jargon just flew over my head. I was like, what is the turn? What did turn where?
You mean HLPQRSTUV? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what that is. And I think that sometimes we feel silly to ask certain questions because we feel like, oh, I don't want to seem like I don't know things or whatever. But squash that. It's important to ask the question, even if you think you're going to sound as if you don't know stuff. Ask because it's important for you to know, and you're going to be spending your money on it, and it's your money. So at the end of the day, they need to answer your questions. Yeah. It's your money and it's your health, and it's important for you and your family for you to know, as Kiana said, what you're getting. Because if you don't, you might be paying for something that doesn't even help. It might not be enough, and that would be sad, to have the false protection, kind of like some of what you were saying earlier, Kiana, is like you thought you had it covered and then you come to find out you don't. And that's even worse. Because when you're caught, you're blindsided.
It's a financial burden.
Yeah.
And I know that sometimes, like, since we must get health insurance through our jobs, it changes from like job to job to job. So you also have to be very wary of that. And sometimes, depending on what job you have less coverage for more payments, for a higher payment. And it just, it simply depends. However, there are some things that you can carry over. Maybe if you don't carry over your health insurance per se, but I want to say at my last job, I was able to get a plan with an HSA card, a health savings account card. You put a certain amount of money in, the job matches a certain amount of money, and you can use it for doctor's offices. You can use it for eye appointments. You can use it if you're going to CVS and you need to get prescription, or if you need to get pads or ointment or something like that. That is money that you have already invested that you can use for other things. And one thing I like about that is once I left my last job, the HSA card is still mine. It's not attached to that job. It's my HSA card. So I can still give into it. They obviously won't match it anymore, but I can still pay into it if I wanted to. And, I had leftover money on the card when I left that job. I went to another one. So it was very, very helpful when I needed to go to the doctor or when I needed to pick up a new prescription or when I needed to do that, because although I used my health insurance to get the lower price, whatever that copay was, I could use my HSA card for that. And I think that that's also something that people need to look into as well. You don't have to don't like cut up your cards if you get an HSA, or I don't have an FSA account, so I can't tell you how that works.
Say what an HSA again, Kiana, for a listening audience who missed exactly what that meant.
Health savings account. HSA is a health savings account. So it's kind of, it's exactly what it says. It's like a savings account that you can use for health related items. So if you use it at a pharmacy, use it at a doctor's office, you use it for an eye appointment, you use it at the dentist.
Question I didn't even think of asking Julian, but that's a good point.
So if you do have that, don't like cut up your card as soon as you leave the place, because a lot of times that HSA account is yours. It's your account. It's not tied to them, your old company anymore. So you can still feed into it and you can still use it. And if you're like, I don't have any more money to give into it, that's fine. You can still use the money that's left on the card for whatever. So you don't have to pay that money out of pocket. Use your health insurance, whatever is left over. You've already invested this money. Use it. That's what it's there for. And I didn't
And
know
you said
about
that you can pay into it. You can continually
Yeah.
pay into it so you can have a nest egg
Yes,
or
you can
whatever.
pay into it. It's kind of like paying into a 401k. You can kind of have it auto debited where it's in there and like you kind of forget about it. But if you don't have disposable income at this very, very moment, but you know you've put money into it before, that money is still there. It's not going to go anywhere. So it won't grow, but it'll be there if you need it. And that has been for me helpful in the past. Leaving one job and going to another, there's always a period, a lapse where you don't have health insurance coverage, and say, thank God nothing happened in that time period. But if something did, I would feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that I had that little nest egg on my health savings account. And, you can look up what it covers because it's not just doctory stuff. Like I said earlier, you can get pads, you can get tampons, you can get things like that. That is still a health thing, I guess. But it's not something that you would typically think of. So look into that and see and if you have it already, see all the things that it can cover because it could be surprising.
Right.
Good to know.
It is good to know. I didn't even know it. As I said, the systems are so different by, country. So even all that we hear here, it's still on each of us to go and do our research to know, what's available in your country or in the state that you're in. 'Cause I'm not sure how that works. Is it like blanketed state by state, or is it do you know?
I think it depends on it kind of comes as part of your health insurance plan. So some health insurance plans offer health savings accounts and some don't. You can get one separate from your job if you wanted to. That's not how I did it. I got it through my job originally because I didn't know what a health savings account was before I got it. But you can definitely, just like you can get health insurance outside your job, even though most people get it through their job, you can get this outside your job as well. I can't tell you the ins and outs of how to do that because I don't know. But I'm sure that there's an insurance professional.
Just ask the question.
Yeah.
That's good to know, Kiana. That was even a nugget of information that I wish I had, so I could ask him if that's something that's offered with some of the plans that he has, because he did mention that there are avenues of having a nest egg and investing money and letting your insurance work for you. So I don't know if that was some of the thing, but I will definitely find out for our listening audience and have him answer some of those questions. So even if you guys have some questions that you would like to ask or inquire about how your insurance can work for you and you have a specific question, send in our message and we will definitely get the answers for you. Because what we're doing here today is we're reflecting on the conversation that was had and, what insurance means to us and things that we knew or didn't know, and the insight that he offered on things that it was like an aha moment and made me want to think and dive down and ask more questions. So if there are things you need to know or you want to know, put it down in the message and we will make sure that we have Julian or one of our professionals answer those questions for you. Crystal, are there some things that you'd like to add?
I think we covered quite a lot of it. And what's really cool in some ways that happened organically, that over this season we were able to kind of touch on some of the things that are important. And you reflected a while ago on the episode on finance where we talked about estate planning and everything, and insurance being such a additional aspect to estate planning. I think that as a community, we should all be having these conversations with our immediate friends, family, everyone, in fact, so that we can be better equipped so that there's no potluck to raise money to bury our loved ones. And there's the GoFundMe's and all of that. We can do away with those things if we take the time or invest the time to learn and invest in the right ways, so that eventually we all can build wealth for ourselves and our communities. So I'm very happy and excited that we were able to touch on these really important discussions so that we inspire the next person to also do it. So while we're doing it for ourselves, we're also kind of encouraging our listening audience to do it as well. And so, yeah, I feel like this is like organically happening, but also very crucial to just, everything that's going on in our worlds. It's so important for us to, spend some time thinking about these things. So I'm going to be spending time thinking about it. I have tons of questions, especially now relocated to a new country, that I haven't taken the time yet to dive fully into insurance and all these types of things here, but it's part of my planning, now that I've finally decided to fully relocate and all that good stuff. So this is a important reminder, even for me, to start looking at what estate planning could look like here in Europe. Yeah.
Yes, and that will be good to know so we can compare. And you said the perfect thing, and find out what plan works best for you and what investment is best for you, because not everybody investment is the same. Mine isn't going to be the same as Kiana or Crystal. I'm in the Virgin Islands, Kiana's stateside, Crystal is in Europe. I mean, that's 3 different things right there. And, at the end of the day, one thing that we know for sure, we're going to have to find what's best for each one of us individually.
Absolutely.
So, this was a great insight and reminder of the conversation that we had, and we want to keep the conversations going. I know that we have some interest of person that wants to talk more about estate planning, and I really would love to have that individual on the show, but we need to flesh out stuff. But we're getting ready to close down season 6. Season 6 is getting ready to come to a close. It has been the most educational season for me. It has been the most, it has been such a growing time, a bold time, outside the box time. And as Crystal said to me, she's watched me evolve and grow in my conservative yet bold way of doing things, and want to make sure I ask and answer the right questions because I don't want to offend. But so, and you hit it on the head, because true, I don't want to offend, but there's so many things I want to flesh out. And I think we've done it so tastefully and so powerfully. And I want to thank you two for doing that. You guys say that you're behind, but you're right here next to me as we're doing the show. I couldn't have a better team. And season 6 is like, I don't want it to end, because it's such a growing time. But I truly, truly loved it. Oh my goodness. Did I say I loved it? We really touched on so many topics that all our topics from season 1 till now, they all have mattered. But season 6 were truly some heavy hitters for me. It was the heavy hitter season. That's what it is. A truly heavy hitting season, and talks about what's relevant to us now, what's relevant to us then, and something that we can take every single day and create aha moments, create pause, jerk conversation. And that's one thing that we truly was talking about from the beginning. We're bringing topics that we can normalize conversations. Normalize conversations, make it something that you always want to talk about. Yes, there are things that you can't share with everyone. There are things that you can't say to, but you have to find your source. You have to find your village, and you have to find that person that will give you the information that you need. So be bold enough within and ask those questions. And we're getting ready to go.
Oh boy. It has indeed. Yeah.
It has been a
Fantastic.
powerful one. Thank you, ladies, for the power. Thank you for the being my fan of fanning the flame, so I can have that fire within. So thanks for fanning my flame so I can have that fire within and bring it forth here. And let's talk about you for season 6. We started out heavy and we're going out powerful. Thank you. And thank you, our listening audience, for sharing. Oh my goodness, you guys have, I think we've grown. It wasn't always so much so for the views, but now it's for the views because I know it makes a difference in your household. It will create a conversation piece for you and your family. So have these conversations. These conversations may be uncomfortable, but it is so freeing. It is so freeing. And one of the things here that we're doing, we're normalizing those uncomfortable things. So as one of our doctors here said, you won't be tripping over that hump that you tried to dust over the rug, Dr. Carey. You won't be bumping on that rug. You will be walking straight because you're free. Kiana, would you like to add any words with regards to this conversation and before we get into next week or last week?
No, I was just gonna say, don't do too many goodbyes. We still got we got one more show. We got one more show in the season. I was like, let's not do too much of a wrap up. We're not gonna have anything to talk about next week. But no, I don't have anything else to add. I'm just, I think that this is a really, really important episode. And I hope that it goes beyond a conversation. I hope that beyond the familial conversation, I hope that this actually translates into action so that whoever is watching, whoever is listening can actually benefit from this and be able to find something that actually works for you. And you're able to understand a little bit more about what is protecting you and what you need to do to get protected. So I truly pray that this isn't just something that you'll have a discussion with your family about, which you should, but it should go beyond that. It should also be you're taking actionable steps to protect yourself and your family.
Absolutely. Crystal?
True. I think, like Kiana, I'm looking forward, of course, to the celebration of the season, just to say farewell to season 6 and all embracing as well the next. But to this conversation, I echo Kiana's sentiments. It's time for action because what we don't want to see, especially now coming into like the peak of our, hurricane season, that you haven't taken the time to check to make sure that you're covered. And if you don't have any coverage at all, this is the time to kind of look into that. And that's now, of course, speaking to our Caribbean heritage, because Kiana and I are not necessarily in the Caribbean yet. Well, not yet. At present, but at the moment, but our hearts are still there. Our families and friends are still in the Caribbean, and even if I'm not there, every time there's an announcement of a hurricane season or a hurricane hitting, you still, even if you're living in a different country, you still feel the same level of anxiety. And I know a lot of us out here are always watching to see what's happening back home, to make sure that our people are safe and protected. So yes, check now, please. Do us a favor, check to make sure that you're covered. And if at all there's things that you need to do to be able to get support, to get coverage, reach out to your people and make sure that you're getting your affairs in order. And so with that, all the best to everyone. And may we have a safe hurricane season in the Caribbean region, and that all the storms and everything else go out to sea, and we are all kept, safe and secure. We know that there's a lot of things happening in our climate that is changing, how strong these hurricanes are coming. So thoughts and prayers and coverage and grace for everyone who is in the path of these disasters. We're on the lookout and you're in our hearts. So I pray all is well for everyone in the coming months, Yeah.
And to that, I bid you adieu, and I say, stay blessed on purpose, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
Your dream come to life. That is the mission behind Kiki Creations. We're more than a decorating service. We put our all into taking in every detail of your vision and transforming that into breathtaking events. Whether you're celebrating a wedding, retirement, throwing a massive gala, or having an intimate dinner, let Kiki Creations create the moment of your dreams. Celebrate love, laughter, and the moments that really matter with Kiki Creations.